Now we're going to be looking at number line with conditions. So sometimes the inequalities will have some conditions. So I'll show you what I mean by that right when we get into the questions. Starting with 45, it says solve x is less than 4 where x is a positive integer. So it's asking us to find the values for when x is less than 4 when x is a positive integer. So this is the condition. X must be a positive integer. Now with these kind of questions, it's actually really helpful if you draw yourself up a number line. So I'm going to start by sketching this one. X is less than 4. 4 is here, so it must be anything that's less than, isn't it? And it must be hollow because it's not including 4. But remember guys, x must be a positive integer. Not all of these numbers are positive. The only positive numbers are 1, 2, and 3. So the answer is x is 1, 2, and 3. That's the answer. Okay, so given that condition, we can find the right answers. Okay, that's it. It says solve x is less than or equal to 3 where x is a whole number. So it can't be a decimal or a fraction, it must be a whole number. I'm going to say x is less than or equal to 3. I'm going to draw that up first. But when x is a whole number, it must be 0, 1, 2, and 3. It's including 3 because of the bar. Now 47, x is greater or equal to negative 2 where x is a negative integer. First of all, draw that up. X is greater than or equal to negative 2. So it's negative 2 here, all of these numbers, and it's including negative 2. But it must be a negative integer. X must be negative. So it's only going to be these two. So we're only having negative 2 and negative 1. X less than 4, where x is an integer greater than 1. Okay, so that's the condition. So first of all, draw up your number line for x is less than 4. That's 4. So if it's less than, it's all of these, and that must be hollow. But x must be an integer greater than 1. So it must be 1 or greater. Okay, so it must be greater than 1. So it can't be 1 though, because it must be greater than 1. So that's why it's hollow. So all the numbers in between are just 2 and 3. So 2 and 3 are the final solutions. Now 49, x is greater than or equal to negative 1 but less than 3, but x must be a whole number, so it can't be negative. So we'll draw up the number line first. It's going to be between negative 1 and 3, not including 3, but including 3 because there's a bar there. Now the whole numbers are 0, 1, and 2 only. It can't be 3 because it's hollow, and it can't be negative 1 because it's negative. So we only have 0, 1, and 2 as our final answers. Now 50, x plus 1 is between negative 1 and 4, but x must be a negative integer. So what I'm going to do is start by simplifying that one first by subtracting 1 onto both sides because I just want the values of x. So subtract 1, you should get negative 2 and 3, right? So now I'm going to sketch this one on my number line. It's between negative 2 and 3, so negative 2 and 3. But there's a bar on negative 2, so it must be coloured in, including negative 2. But it says x is a negative integer. So our negative integers within this boundary are these two, negative 2 and negative 1. So the answer is negative 2 and negative 1. 51. Now negative x is between negative 2 and 1. Now again guys, I don't want negative x, I just want x. So I'm going to multiply everything by negative, so that becomes positive 2, that becomes negative 1. Remember how we switched the sign there? So I'm going to put that on my number line. That's negative 1, that's 2. And it's including 2, isn't it? So make sure that one's the only one that's coloured. And it says x must be a positive integer. So it must be 1 and 2. Some people actually put 0 as well, but 0 is not positive or negative, it's neutral, so we don't include zeros. So only 1 and 2 is the answer. And 53, find the smallest number in negative x is less than or equal to 1. I don't want negative x, so multiply by negative 1 onto both sides and reverse the sign. So put that on the number line, x is greater or equal to negative 1. So that's negative 1, it must be greater or equal to that one. But this time, as we go to the right, we're getting bigger and bigger. But the smallest number is that number there. It must be -1 because we can include -1. It's a bar on -1, so the answer is simply -1. Okay, and that's it. It must be -1. That's the smallest possible number we can have for this inequality. Okay, so with these kind of questions, always trying to draw up yourself a number line, and it's much more easier to figure out what the answer is. Okay, so that's the end of that part.